Hey, book besties. Welcome to More Than a Book Club podcast. I'm your host, Leyna.
And I'm your other host, LJ.
And today we are going to go over something we did back in quarter one. Mm-hmm. And we talked about our best hits for the first quarter and then our misses. And so we are going to do that again for quarter two. So we are halfway through the year.
Woohoo!
So we are also going to look at where we are with our personal goals, mm-hmm. our book challenge. And then also, if you haven't already picked it up, it's for free. It's not really to pick it up. But if you haven't gone to our Instagram and seen it, we do have a book bingo challenge. If you haven't gotten our book bingo challenge, make sure to do that. It's a fun way to kind of challenge yourself if you're an avid reader or if you're just trying to get back into reading. You can try to get, a bingo, one across, diagonal, up and down, vertical. Or I'm going to try for a blackout. And I think you're trying for a blackout too.
I am.
Okay, so this is going to be a good challenge for us.
It is. And I do want to say for anyone that's like worried about it, ours is relatively easy. We have seen some crazy ones out there. And ours is 5 by 5, but we really tried to pick ones this time that were easy to do. Because I don't know about you, I've never done a full one like this. I've done part of one or something. And so I wanted to make sure that I could do it where it would push me, but it was still attainable. And so I think it is.
I've done the Modern Mrs. Darcy book challenge.
Okay.
But that's not really like a bingo board. It was more of here's some categories to go through. So I did that. And that helped me read that year quite a bit. So,
yeah,
if we can help someone read a little bit more, that's, goal achieved.
Yes. And we'll help you because we'll be sharing ones that we did for different categories. So
yeah, so it's going to be fun. We'll give you some ideas.
Yeah.
So we have not done literary lately in forever. We've done lots of interviews, and then we had some pre-recorded episodes. One pre-recorded episode, I think.
Yeah.
While I was on vacation. So let's go back. I feel like, gosh, when did we do this last? I don't even know, but it's been a hot minute. What have you been doing literary lately?
Okay, so I recently finished 4 books. And so I'm thinking since it's been a while, it's been more than that I finished, but that's okay because I don't remember. So the most recent books that I finished, some of them are work related. So some of them, probably anyone listening, maybe one of you might want to read them. I finished 7 Steps to a Language-Rich Interactive Foreign Language Classroom. I finished My Friends, which is our book club pick for June that we're going to talk about soon, so y'all still have time. Differentiated Instruction, a guide for world language teachers. And then Sea Change, which is one that we got to interview the wonderful Susan Fletcher, who wrote the book, and that episode will come out soon. I kept seeing people talking about comfort reads, and I know our friend Emily, she also recently read a series that's a comfort series for her. And so the other night I was just sitting there and I was like, I want to read a comfort read. And you're going to laugh when I say this.
I bet I know what it is.
What is it?
Is it Jurassic Park?
Yes. And I don't know.
Only LJ could have comfort from dinosaurs eating people.
I know. And the funny thing is the whole time I'm reading it, I'm getting these warm and fuzzy feelings. And I'm like, there is something wrong with you. But to be fair, anyone who has...
Do you get warm and fuzzy feelings from true crime? Does that give you a comfort feeling? Because that I might be concerned about.
Okay, so I've been thinking a lot about this, and I realize what it is that this book and this whole, the movies, they have been a part of my life since 6th grade. And so I think it's more of the familiarity. I read this book in, I think, 7th or 8th grade for the first time. And I went through on Goodreads.
It takes you back to that time.
It takes you back. And I remember, it reminds me of being a kid. And when I read this book the first time, it did scare me. And I remember when I finished it, and I was sitting on the couch in our 800 square foot house or something. And I was scared to walk to my parents' bedroom, even though I knew there were no dinosaurs. But it just freaked me out so much. And so I think it takes me back to that, is just remembering that. And the reality is, if I went and looked on Goodreads too to see, this is the 5th time on Goodreads that I will have marked that I read it. So I know that means I've read it at least 6 times because I read it in the 90s. But it's like I'm being very analytical this time as I'm reading it. I'm like, I can see like why a lot of people would not necessarily enjoy it unless you love Jurassic Park. And even then, you don't get anything with the dinosaurs really, like small things, until 150 pages in, or maybe even after that, which it's kind of funny. In the first movie, aside from the initial scene, you don't for like over an hour. And that was like, people were like, what? Like the bulk of the action happens.
Because it's getting the
it's
archaeologists together, paleontologists, not
Yeah.
archaeologists, but
yeah. And so, but anyway, either way, it's giving me the warm fuzzies. I probably will finish it the day that we're recording because I have less than 100 pages. And then I do intend to grab off the shelf because it's from back here. I'm reading it physical copy. I've got The Lost World is right there. So I might have to read that one next, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, and then, I mean, upcoming, we have on July 12th, we're going to go to Neighbor Books to see Sarah Damoff and hear her talk about the Bright Years. So any of our fans, that would be weird. What if someone came up and was like, hey, I listened to your podcast? I would like die on the spot. I would be like, let's take a hug. Let's take a picture. Let me send it to Claudia and be like, look, someone listens.
Our legit fan.
Our legit fans. And so, yeah.
But that's funny. I said fan and you said fans.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking, how many people do we have listening? We have a lot, actually. So I was kind of surprised about that. But to be able to see them in person, that would be kind of fun.
Yeah, like that'd be cool. So you should come support Sarah Damoff. You should get a book. Do they need to sign up online somewhere?
No, it's just a come on in. I think the Q&A started, what time was it? Like 7?
Something like that, yeah.
Go look on Neighbor Books. They should have information for that. And Sarah Damoff also had information on her website for that event. So it's Neighbor Books in McKinney, and it's an awesome independent bookstore. And you can go and support them, meet a local author who this book has taken off. Like,
and it's so good.
You will not be disappointed.
No.
I think everyone will love it.
I think so too. So yeah. And then other than that, I mean, you know, you want to tell them what our upcoming book for July is before you tell about your literary lately? Like, what is our book club book? You bought the book for us.
I bought the book. Let me see. I have it right here because I bought it and then I forgot to give it to people. So you're the only one that has it. So the rest of our book club does not. So I'm going to have to make some, visits. Drive around town and go get it. The book is The Busybody Book Club, and it's by Freya Sampson. And I love books about books. And book clubs. So I am excited for this. I think Emily because it's Emily's birthday month, right?
Yes.
Isn't July? Yeah. I'm like, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
And so usually for our birthday month, our book club, we pick the book. And so that was her book that she chose. So I'm excited to read that one. So yeah, we have that book for our July book. And then we're kind of behind on our book club. So you do have some extra time. This is how we do real book club in real life.
It is.
Because some months are like, we're on it. And then some months were not so much. And sometimes I think May is when we got behind, honestly. And May is just a crazy month.
It is.
August is the same way. It's the beginning and end of school.
Yes.
I mean, you're a teacher. We all have kids.
Yes.
It is just crazy. There's so many activities packed into that beginning and end of school year that it can be hard. And I know for Christmas, it can be hard for us to all meet just because a million different things and birthdays. Coming up. So anyway.
It's all good. But yeah, but what have you been up to literary lately, Leyna?
So I went back at my notes and I looked to see when we had done this last. And I've read 10 books since then. So I'm going to name them off and I'll point out a couple of them because I think some were better than others. I finished Death at a Highland Wedding. I finished Out of the Blue and The Summer Hideaway. And then those were both by Jenny Hale. And those were the ones that we had talked with her about for the interview. And then I also got The Magic of Sea Glass, which is also a Jenny Hale book. So I read 3 Jenny Hale books in June. So it was a Jenny June.
Oh, I love that. A Jenny June. Oh, we should make that a thing every June. Jenny June.
Would be
got
fun.
It. I like it.
We love alliteration here. So I read all 3 of those, loved all of those. They're great. Then I read The Bright Years, which was such a good read. And we have a whole episode on it, so I won't go over it. Read Atmosphere, My Friends, Sea Change, Everything is Tuberculosis, and The Cemetery of Untold Stories. And I will say Atmosphere is the Taylor Jenkins Reid book. That's her newest one. I think that was my favorite one that she's written so far.
Very cool.
I really liked it. It says it's a love story, but going into it, you're like, okay, where's the love? Where's this love coming from? And there is a romance in there.
Okay.
And there is familiar love. Familiar?
Okay.
Familial?
Familial?
Family love.
Family
I can't
love?
say that word. It's familial. Anyway, there's family love, but then she also she's an astronaut. So the whole point of the book is she's going into the astronaut program in the 80s. And so she's like the second group of women that get selected. So this is like a big deal. She's one of the first women astronauts, and it's her love of going to outer space. It's her love of the idea of space travel and stars. And so there's all kinds of different aspects of love in there. And it read so well. And it starts off with, there's a problem with the mission. And it hooked me right away. Like right away, I was like, I'm invested. I want to see what happens. And I think I told you all in book club, but it made me want to go read Project Hail Mary.
Which
so
I
bad.
want you to so badly. It is seriously, I think about this book all the time.
Derek and I watched the trailer for the movie that's coming out. It's coming out in March of 2026, and it's coming out like right before my birthday. So I was like, hey, that's what we're going to go do for my birthday next year. So I already have that planned, but I was like, I have to read the book before then. So that's my goal. It's one of my goals is to read that soon. But Atmosphere, it was very good. I would highly recommend. I won't say it's not like her other books, but a lot of her other books are about kind of famous people or high profile people. Like she had Carrie Soto's back, and that's more about like the tennis player. And then she had, what was the other book?
Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones and the Six.
Daisy Jones and the Six is about the
Evelyn Hugo.
Band. Evelyn Hugo is about a famous actress. I mean, there's all these famous people. And this is more about a down-to-earth family situation because there's family drama in there too. Like it was just really good. Highly recommend. Everything is Tuberculosis. I would also highly recommend. That one, it kind of surprised me because I don't really like nonfiction. And I went into it and I had read it because Emily had talked about it, our friend Emily, and she was like, it's so good. Everybody should read this. And so I went into it thinking that it was going to be one of those boring books. But my background is in public health, and tuberculosis is a public health crisis. So it was very good for me. It fit well with what I identify as problems. But then it was talking about how, not only the disease itself, but also how the disease shaped society. And I had no idea. And there's so much that went into it. And it was a quick read. It was 6 hours listening time. So it's a short book, but that was a really good book. So I would recommend, I guess if I had to pick a couple, Atmosphere and Everything is Tuberculosis from what I've read also all the Jenny Hill.
Of course.
Sea Change. I mean,
of course.
I have to say, I read pat myself on the back here. I read good books this month.
Yeah. No, so, you did. And I got the audiobook of Everything is Tuberculosis, and I started it on the way home from book club the other day. So
is it good? Are you liking it so far? I mean,
you're
newly into it.
I am. And he already I don't want to give anything away, but how he says he's like tuberculosis kind of caused World War I. And I liked that information that it was like, okay, not really, but kind of. And so I thought that was fun. So that's a little teaser. You should go read or listen to it. And John Green reads it. So it's the author.
Yes.
And
it is John Green from The Fault of Our Stars fame. I mean, I would not have, and someone else, I think Emily said that he's written another nonfiction book.
Maybe.
I can't remember now. I'd have to go look it up for sure. But it was very good. And there's a story woven throughout it. So, I mean, it's a real story. It's nonfiction, but it captivates you.
Yes, that's cool.
All right. So let's talk about quarter 2. This was April, May, and June. These were busy months.
Yes, they were. They really were.
Let's talk to you about what was your favorite book from April?
Oh, from April, my favorite book was Alive and Beating.
Me too.
Which was fun because we got to have her on the podcast. I should have written down what episode that was, but we have an episode with, my gosh, I just forgot her name.
Rebecca Wolf.
Thank you. All right, so we have an episode with Rebecca Wolf, who is the author of Alive and Beating. And I have seen some clips of her on other podcasts too. And she's just so engaging. And her book is just beautiful. I feel like it's not as well known yet, but it should be. And it is
should be.
published in like as many languages digitally as she can get it published. So,
And it was episode 24, if
Okay,
anybody's looking for that episode. And
Episode
it is an
24.
amazing book. Like the Ink and Aura book club for writers that I'm part of is reading that this month for their book club. And I'm
Oh,
like,
that's nice.
I hope everybody likes it.
Oh my gosh,
So
are y'all
good.
gonna invite her to join the book club?
You know,
Or does
We
she need
haven't.
to? I don't know if that's something she needs to find on her own or whatever, because
Yeah.
it's a debut,
I
so she
didn't even
doesn't
think
have
of
a bunch
that.
of.
She would. That's why she qualifies, because we're reading debuts and authors that have less than 5 books published. So
Mhm.
we could invite her to be part of it.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and Sarah
exciting.
Damoff. I'm just gonna throw that
Yeah.
out there too.
That was her debut. And Sarah Damoff's, but the Bright Years, that was her debut.
Yeah.
Both of these, I cannot
We're-
believe
I
they were
know.
debut authors,
I
because
cannot either.
they write so well.
Mm-hmm. They really
So-
do.
Now you've talked about your favorite.
Oh.
What was your myth?
Sunrise on the Reaping, without a
Ooh,
doubt.
yeah, okay.
That one was my least favorite. And the thing is, I can understand why some people would like it. I just had too many problems with it. And I love Haymitch, and this made me not like Haymitch. So, yeah. So I'm going to pretend like this is not what really happened. Anyway,
I know
what about
we
you?
we have a whole episode on that. So if y'all want to
We
go
do.
hear LJ
Rant
ripping it
about
apart.
that, which I did. That was, while you talk about your least favorite, I would
Okay.
look up what episode that was.
So my least favorite, it was Every Beautiful Mile. And this was a book that the Ink and Aura book and author group read. And it is someone who has, again, less than 5 books out. I think this book would have been great if it would have been 2 separate books. I think
Okay.
she could have made it fantastic, but she put it all into one, and some of it just didn't. It was a romance mixed with overcoming grief and family tragedy. And I think that she could have put it into 2 separate books, and it
Yeah,
would have been great. But as it was, it just left some wanting there.
that's fair.
But
That's reasonable.
I will say that I had a couple of 3-star reads in April, and all of my books, seriously, the lowest I've rated something, I think, in all of the months was 3 stars. So
I think, didn't you give it 2 to Dream Girl Drama?
that was in first
Oh, you mean in
quarter,
quarter
though.
one? I thought you
Yes.
meant this quarter. Gotcha. Not the whole year, just this quarter.
Just this quarter.
Gotcha.
I had 3 and higher. And so this April was kind of hard for me because I also read Ultramarine and Mockingjay. And I thought all of those were both 3-star books for me as well. And so I was like, which one is my least favorite? But I could see some merit in the other 2, whereas Every Beautiful Mile just wasn't for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. All right. So in April, do you know how many books you read in April? Just April. Because while she's counting, I will say I read 8 books.
I read 12.
Okay. And I had 2 3 stars, 2 4 stars, and then the other 4 were 5 stars.
Nice. So you
Pretty typical me, I think.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
good. Okay, let's go on to May then. What was your favorite read in May?
So this one was an easy
I wonder if
pick.
it's the same one. I think it's going to be the same one, but go ahead.
The Wedding People.
Yep, The Wedding People. It was my
So-
favorite.
We're aligning on
Yeah.
our favorites this quarter so far. So our April book and our May book, we both had the same books as our favorite. The Wedding People was just so sweet and funny in unexpected ways. I went into it kind of blind.
Me
And
too. And except for what
was-
y'all had told me.
Phenomenal. And I had just read it, I think, because everybody else was reading it. Like it was
I think
showing up
so.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's why I had read it, and I kept seeing it, and I was like, what's this drowning person holding up a bottle of champagne in
Yeah.
a champagne glass? Let me see what this is about.
Right.
And then it turned out to be very poignant and sweet and funny, but then also, there was a lot of emotional. I mean, it starts out with a woman who goes to a hotel
yeah.
to kill herself.
Yep.
To
And
unalive
believe it or
herself.
not, it's a little bit funny.
And it's
Yeah.
funny, and just everything about it is It's a good read. And if you are feeling a little bit down, this will probably pick you up. I won't say for sure because,
No,
not everybody feels the same way, but I think that
right.
it was just so funny and hilarious and real. And I think that's what made
Yeah.
it so likable. What about you?
Um, for my least favorite,
Yeah, what's your least favorite book?
okay, so it is Parents Weekend by Alex Finlay, I think. Finlay or Finley. And it's still got 3 stars. I talked about it before when I finished it on here, and it was one that like I enjoyed reading it, but it just was not the greatest thriller. And there were some things that seemed a bit like just completely implausible. And so that did take it down a little bit. But I didn't dislike the experience reading it. I just think overall it was just an okay thriller. I just have higher expectations for my thrillers, as we know. Anyway, what about you? What was your least favorite?
And this one jumped right out at me as well for May was The Antidote. And this is the one that we read for the Neighbor Books book club, the literary fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And something about this book just did not sit well with me. And it was too far out there. It's kind of this dystopian, I won't say dystopian because it takes place in the 30s with the Dust Bowl, but there's magical realism, maybe. I mean, I'm not sure how to categorize this, but there's a scarecrow that shows up and talks. There's
yeah, that sounds like magical realism.
Prairie witches that come and they can
take
your memories. Yeah. It had such a cool concept, and I just think somehow it did not
It just
land
didn't pan
for
out.
me. And the author, I can't remember who it was now, but I know that she had written something else, Swamplandia. And so that one is also a pretty well-known
I've heard of
literary
that.
fiction book. I haven't read that one either, but that was just kind of a bummer read.
I hate when that happens.
I didn't feel the warm and fuzzies after it. It was not a comfort read, for sure.
That's not fun. So how many did you read total in?
I read 10.
Okay.
10 in May.
Okay, I read 9. And so I had 6 that were 3 stars in May. May was not a good month for reading.
No.
I had 1 that was 4 stars and 2 that were 5 stars. So that's kind of crazy to me that, oh, you know why? That was when I was reading like the different novellas and stuff by Stephen King, and some of them missed the mark. Some of them were really good, but there were some that just missed the mark. So yeah, that's why.
That's probably why.
That makes it feel bad. What about you? How many of...
I had, let's see, 2 5 stars, The Wedding People, and then The Amalfi Curse by Sarah Penner, which I really liked. I think I had said earlier that that's my favorite one that she's written so far. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 4-star reads.
That's good.
And then the 1 3-star read. And of those 4-star reads, I read the Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man, which I love that whole series. I'm just going to read all of them.
You have to.
And then Finlay Donovan Digs Her Own Grave, which is a series. That's the one where she's the author and someone overhears her talking about the plot of her book and then thinks she's a contract killer. And so hires her to kill her. It's funny, and then hilarity ensues. And then I also read the Filthy Rich Fae book.
I need to get on that.
We're going to have Geneva Lee on here. We're going to interview her about the second book in that series. So that was also I've read good books. The Third Gilmore Girl, Berry Pickers, House of My Mother. It felt like some good books.
Yeah, you did. You did read some good books. So,
okay, what about June? I want to see if we have 3 for 3 of our favorite reads.
Okay, but I know in June you've read so many books that you loved. So I don't know if this will be it, but I think it could be.
How about on 3 we both say it together, okay?
Okay.
1, 2, 3. The Bright Years.
My Friends. Nope. I went back and forth. I put My Friends. It was really hard. They really tie, but I put My Friends.
And that's funny because I went back and forth between those 2 as well. And I even wrote down, can I have 2 favorite books?
Yes, you can. That just means there's no second place because that takes place first and second. At least that's how it worked in competitive ice skating. So
there you go.
So there we go.
We'll just base our rating system off of competitive ice skating.
From the 90s. I don't know about 90s. Now. So, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know. It was a hard, you mentioned so many of the good ones that you read in June, how many did you read in June?
11.
Okay, I read 10. And on this one, I had 1 3-star, 2 4-stars, and 8 5-star reads.
Nice.
So this was a good month for me too. It might
Yeah.
not all the books would necessarily fall in that category for you because some of them were school books, which I did really like. But the ones I gave 5 stars, I gave Emma 5 stars. The Summer Hideaway, Out of the Blue, The Skeleton Crew by Stephen King, one of my favorites, The Bright Years, 7 Steps to a Language-Rich Interactive Foreign Language Classroom, My Friends, Differentiated Instruction, A Guide for World Language Teachers. So I had a good month, but so did you in June. Like some of your favorite books.
2 3-stars, 2 4-stars, and the rest were 5. Like seriously, this was a good month. Like I feel like this quarter I found some really good books, and the ones that were misses were misses. Yeah. For me. What was your June least favorite? Your myth?
My June miss was, this is a true crime one. This keeps happening when I listen to some of these true crime ones. Island Indictments. And I believe I talked about it on here.
Yes.
That was one. It's about crime that relate to Galveston Island. And it had so much potential, but it was a miss. And sometimes that happens. Like, I'm not going to pretend that just because I love true crime that I could report on it very well. But yeah, it was a miss. I did not love it, unfortunately. It was kind of cool to hear of some cases that I'd never heard of before that are Texas cases, but it just I don't think it was as detailed, or it didn't give the right details to hold your attention. Thankfully, it was short and from the library, so it was free.
Free is always nice. I think for me, my miss was unfortunately The Love Haters by Catherine Center. And I am a total Catherine Center fangirl, and this one just did not. I mean, I know that not every book the author that I love writes will be the best book, but I'm sad that was my least favorite for that month. Granted, I read some really good books, so it was hard to, I didn't have much to choose from for a miss.
No, but like, I will say, because I've only read one other of hers. I own a bunch of hers, apparently, that I didn't realize I owned. But I think that one, we talked about this before, I feel like, is that we wanted more of the guy.
Yes.
Like,
in his job. Yeah.
In his job. Like, we wanted more of that. Like, I feel like we didn't really get to know him. And then it's like, okay. Like, we got to know their chemistry, that they had chemistry. And then there were some really annoying characters, too.
Yes. And, like,
the good characters, I feel like we didn't quite get enough of either. So, it's okay.
I was sad. That's all right.
I know. It is sad. But maybe the next one will be awesome. So
I'm hoping, because she was talking about it whenever we went and saw her, and it sounded good.
It did sound really good. I don't remember what she told us, but I
can't remember what it was either. I was like, don't ask me to repeat what she said, but it sounded good.
It sounded really good. Yeah, no idea. Well, that's fine.
That's the way it goes.
Okay, so before we move forward to the next quarter, we should look at our challenge and see how we're doing. Have you read one that's a book written in the decade you were born?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
What about you?
The Skeleton Crew. I got that one this time. So, okay, a book in a genre you don't usually read.
Dinner for Vampires, which was about the celebrity, I can't remember her name, but she was in a cult.
Bethany Joy Lenz.
Yes.
There we go.
And that was something I normally wouldn't read. What about you? Have you read one in that?
Remember the poetry book, I Hope This Finds You Well.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, if not for that, this short story book by Stephen King would have totally counted, because I never have read a short story book, and it does make me more intrigued to read other ones, because sometimes it's nice just to have a little taste of something. All right, a book that's set in a place you want to visit.
Amalfi Curse. I want to go to the Amalfi Coast so bad, like Rome and Pompeii, and then do a trip around the Amalfi Coast. That's my dream trip. Someday it'll happen.
I have not read one, I don't think, in a place that I want to visit. What about a book set in winter?
That I can think of? No.
Okay. Well, that's okay. We still have, Christmas time coming.
Yeah.
So I did get 5 Total Strangers, which was a YA book that I did not love, that I'd had for like years.
Yeah.
All right, a book with less than 300 pages. This is hard for you with the audio, huh?
So, but I did read Ultramarine for the Neighbor Books book club, and that was less than 300 pages. So it was a short book, which was good because it wasn't my favorite.
Okay, so I use the Summer Hideaway. It's like 298 pages
Okay.
apparently, according to Goodreads.
Just under.
Just under. I didn't look at my physical copies. Is it over here somewhere?
Like I have mine right here. I
Look
can
at what is
verify.
verify, and if not, I can change it.
Yeah, it's under because that starts out with a book club guide and even with the recipes.
Okay. So
it was 249 pages.
okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
All right. What about a book with 500 plus pages?
For me, Outlander.
That's what I put too. All right, a book written by a local author, state, or city. We've got multiple of these.
I know. I'm kind of excited about this. So I put down Killer Story because I think that was the first one. But we've also read now The Bright Years by Sarah Damoff. We read Sea Change by Susan Fletcher, which is more Houston area, but it's still the same state, right?
Yeah, it's the same state. So yeah, I put The Bright Years for mine. And then I haven't done the reread a favorite book, but you've got Hunger Games.
I put down Hunger Games, but I guess if I had to say a reread of a book that I really want to reread, I have a book called Second Glance that is by Jodi Picoult or Pico. I always get her name wrong, but I have wanted to reread that for a while because it's one of my favorites. So maybe I'll
do that.
Do it. I'll change it up.
Okay. What about a book set in spring?
I don't have that one yet.
I know. I was like, technically we could put Emma, I feel like, but I don't really feel like it's an actual
I feel like it has to be
book.
Intentional. Like there has to be some intentionality behind it.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, a book recommended by a friend.
I haven't put anything down for that. I'm sure that I've read something.
You could. Well, I feel like, I mean, you could say The Wedding People because Emily was reading it and I don't know. I put The Favorites because Emily gave me that one to read. So I was like, okay, we'll put that one. All right, what about a trendy book on Book Talk or Bookstagram?
So I feel like I'm gonna have to come to you for advice for this because I don't have anything down, but I don't know.
Sunrise on the Reaping.
That was a trendy book.
Onyx Storm, one of those, I would say.
And I read all Sunrise of the,
yeah. Yeah. Okay, what about a thriller book?
A thriller. I don't have anything down so far, but I don't feel like I read The Queens of Crime. It was more historical fiction thriller.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll definitely get it with Agatha Tober, so.
Yes.
Okay, I put That's Not My Name, which is one, if you remember on the episode, I remember I was talking about, like, wait a minute, that's wrong. And I was confusing two different books and combining their stories. So part of it was right. But anyway, it is a really good thriller that I think I found because someone posted like on Facebook that it was on Kindle Unlimited. And I just happened to read it. It was really good. Okay. All right. I have not put one yet for a book club book with more than a book club pod, but have you written one down there? We've read them all. We've read them all. So we've got choices.
I put James down.
You know, I was just thinking I should put James there because I'm not putting it anywhere else.
I didn't want any doubles, so no. I put James there.
All right.
What about
a
book set in summer?
Out of the Blue.
And I put Every Beautiful Mile, even though it wasn't my favorite. It was set in the summer.
Okay.
A romance book.
The Au Pair Affair. What about you?
Okay. I put Fangirl down, so we both have some Tessa Bailey in there. Notice that neither of us put in Dreamgirl Drama. Nope. That was my 2-star book from quarter one.
Yep, we did not. All right, fantasy book?
A fantasy book? I put Onyx Storm.
Okay, I put One Dark Window.
Okay.
All right.
A nonfiction book?
I'm guessing you put Everything is Tuberculosis.
I had already put down Codependent No More from January when I read that.
Okay, I put Killer Story for that one.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one too.
All right, horror?
I don't have anything down for that. That's going to be a challenging category for me.
I mean, I could put any of the Stephen King stuff, so we'll see. I have another book of novellas, the other one that we got when we went to go see Catherine Center, and I haven't done that one yet because I just haven't been in the mood for it yet. So, and if not, I'm sure there will be something.
Yes.
All right. What about fall? A book set in fall?
I don't have a book set in fall.
Me neither. Not yet.
What about a library book?
I put Listen for the Lie because that was one that I remember my cousin's wife recommended at Christmas. And it was, I don't remember anything about it, but I remember it was good.
So I get all of my books, my audiobooks, not all of them, but most of them from Libby. But I was trying to actually go to the library and check out a physical copy of a book. So I'm holding off on that one. We'll get there. What about an audiobook?
That's where I put James because it was so
And
good.
I put Emma.
Okay, so see, there we go. All right, an ebook. I mean, I could have put so many different ones.
I put Awakened Power, which was
I
by our
put,
friend
yeah,
Chris.
well, I should do that because I put The Scent Keeper, which is the one that like I thought was going to be 5 stars, and then the ending was not good, and so it ended up with 3. So I might change that. That's fine. Okay.
A paperback book.
Anna Karenina, because that thing needed to go on here somewhere.
That needs to be like the longest book you have ever read ever.
I know, for real. All right.
And for me, I put down Martyr, which I read earlier this year.
Yes,
What
you
about a
did.
Christmas holiday book?
I haven't put one yet because I'm gonna wait. But you've read some already this summer.
I read the Noel Bridge earlier this year, and then I have like 1 or 2 more books to read on my Libby that are going to expire. But then I got so many. My Libby is stacked right now with Christmas books because I am determined that I'm going to do Christmas in July. So I'm going to make it happen. When I was on vacation, I picked up a Debbie Makehomer book. It's 12 Days of Christmas.
Which is like, I think it's my favorite, besides the Alaska ones.
And it's so cute. It's got two little puppies on the front, and it looks adorable. And this bookstore that I was at, it was like $1. So all the books were $1 because it was used. It was a library used bookstore. So I got that.
No, that one
is
A
Walk to Remember, and I'm excited.
That one's so cute. They're both. I love A Walk to Remember, the book, not the movie. But I want to tell you that I don't know if you've seen it yet, but Netflix has a Christmas in July section right now.
Oh, do they?
With movies.
Fun.
So
okay,
it's the only streaming service that I've seen it pop up. But you have to understand, on all of the other ones, as soon as I open them, if it's Peacock, it recommends anything reality TV because that's where I watch all my Bravo shows. But then any other one, it's like true crime, true crime, true crime. So if they have them, it's not going to tell me. But I'm sure other ones are going to do. If they haven't, I would be shocked if none of the other ones.
I feel like my algorithm on a few things is messed up because Piper has been going and watching all the Scream movies. So now I'm getting like horror movies and I'm like, this is not my jam. And then Danny has been watching South Park. So I'm getting animated adult cartoons, which is also not really my thing. So it's all messed up. But
well, you know what I'm thinking now too? I'm like, you know what I might do for horror? And here's an idea for you. Because we've talked about R.L. Stein and then what was it, Christopher Pike?
Yeah, that would be fun.
I might do something like that because that would be fun. And then it wouldn't be as
maybe that'll be my October goal is to read some of those old school R.L. Stein,
that would be so fun.
Christopher Pike.
We should go to like different half-price books and see if they have them.
That's a fun idea. Let's do it.
Okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We got this.
All right. The final little square, a hardback book.
I mean, I actually have read quite a few, but I put The God of the Woods.
I put Sea Change.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I wanted to include it somewhere on here.
Yay!
And I had on here my goal for the year. I didn't have a numerical goal that I wanted to hit, but I wanted to hit 10 physical copy books.
Yes.
I have written down 7, but I know I've hit that at least because...
Oh, I'm sure.
I read Sea Change, The Summer Hideaway, Out of the Blue, and then The Antidote. Yeah, so that's 4, and I already had 7, so I've hit that goal. That's 11 books.
Way to go! So now you don't have to read any more physical books unless you want to.
Which I guess now I do want to because I have some more physical copy books that we have, I think 2 or 3 that people have sent us. And then I have some that I've already purchased. So
there we go.
I'm gonna just achieve that goal and beyond. What about you? What was your personal goal was to kind of read slower this year, wasn't it?
Yes. So my personal goal was just 75 books. So I'm sitting right at 60. I mean, I'll probably increase it to 100 because like, honestly, I do know like August, I'm probably not going to read a whole lot.
Right.
That's just reality. And I don't want to put like any extra pressure. So I don't know. As I get close to 75, like when I hit 70, then I might just be like, okay, let's go up to 80. Let's go up to 85. Because I want to take things slow. And that was something while I'm rereading Jurassic Park, like I'm reading it so fast and I'm like, no, slow down. Like, but I'm actually like reading every word. I'm not, because sometimes when I get going, like
anything.
Yeah. So I'm reading everything. And it was funny because it reminds me of our friend Emily, who will be on an episode soon. But when she was rereading An Ember in the Ashes series, she was like just trying to read them for comfort and enjoy. And then she was like zipping through them. She's like, I'm reading them too fast, but they're just so good. I don't want to stop reading. And I'm like, yes, I understand that. And that has been kind of fun. But yeah,
That's
I'm
one of the
like,
things I've noticed with reading just a physical book, because with audiobooks, I'm usually doing something else while I'm like reading it, listening to it. I'm either driving, working, doing something. In a physical copy book, you have to literally just pause life, sit down, and focus on that. So it's almost like an anxiety reliever, because you have to ground yourself beforehand and be like, this is what I'm doing, and be present in the moment. So that's kind of like a nice way to kind of, come back to yourself. If you have caught yourself like me reading nothing but audiobooks, go back to reading some physical and see if that helps. So
yeah. So anyway, all right. So should we talk about what we're?
Hold on. On the reading challenge, have you gotten any bingos yet?
Yes, I have the first 2 columns and the last column.
I have the last row.
Okay.
But that's my only bingo so far.
Yeah,
I'm missing some ones here and there. So there's
mine right
scooch it
now.
over just a little bit.
There we go.
Oh yes, and LJ is doing it very fancy.
Yep, I am on
and I have paper.
Mine is on Pic Collage, which I've talked about before. Well, actually, I don't know what it costs now. I don't think it's that expensive. But anyway, I paid to have the watermark removed. It's like $20 a year. I started doing it years ago, and I'm like, whatever. I can afford that. Anyway, it's fine. All right, so should we start what we're looking forward to?
Yes, and I found one that I'm super excited to read.
Okay.
But then I'm also super excited for you to read.
Okay.
And I think you're going to be more excited about it. And then you're going to be like, you want to read that? Where was it?
Okay.
It's called The End of the World as We Know It, New Tales of Stephen King's The Stand.
What?
Yeah, I know. And this comes out...
he wrote this? He wrote this?
So it comes out August 19th. And
before my birthday.
It is stories based on the original The Stand.
Okay, but who wrote it?
So it says, The Stand, since its initial publication in 1978, The Stand has been considered Stephen King's seminal masterpiece of apocalyptic fiction, with millions of copies sold and adapted twice for television. Although there are other extraordinary works exploring the unraveling of human society, none have been as influential as this iconic book. Generations of writers have been impacted by its dark yet ultimately hopeful vision of the end and new beginning of civilization, and its stunning array of characters. Now, for the first time, Stephen King has fully authorized a return to the harrowing world of The Stand through this original short story anthology as presented by award-winning authors and editors Christopher Golden and Brian Keene. Bringing together some of today's greatest and most visionary writers, The End of the World as We Know It features unforgettable, all-new stories set during and after, and some perhaps long after, the events of The Stand. Brilliant, terrifying, and painfully human tales that will resonate with readers everywhere as an essential companion to the classic best-selling novel. Featuring an introduction by Stephen King, a foreword by Christopher Golden, and an afterword by Brian Keene, contributors include Wayne Brady and Maurice Broaddus, Poppy Z. Bright, Somer Cannon, C. Robert Cargill, Nat Cassidy, V. Castro, Richard Chismar, S. A. Crosby, Tannereve Dew and Stephen Barnes, Meg Gardner, Gabino Iglesias, Jonathan Jans, Alma Katsu, Carolyn Kepnes, Michael Coriat, Sarah Langan, Joe E. Lansdale, Tim Leben, Josh Malmrun, Ronald Malfi. Trying to see if there was anybody that jumped out at me.
Yeah.
Chuck Wendig. Yeah. So it's other authors, but it's kind of like a short story collection that he's authorized, and it's about the world, which I was excited about because I was like, it's not Stephen King, but it's his world. And I don't like Stephen King, but I like his world.
Yeah, but I wish it but I don't like The Stand is my problem. I don't know. We'll see.
I like the concept of The Stand. I don't like the Stephen King writing of The Stand. I think that, I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, but his writing has some moments where it's just not my favorite. And I think
that's fine. Yeah.
I think that this might be something that will bring that dystopian world to life, but with different authors' perspectives. So I'm excited about that one.
Okay, well, we'll see. I'll see. I'll think about it. All right. So I have one that I'm I'm not sure if I'm excited about it.
Okay.
Because it's by Ruth Ware. It's The Woman in Suite 11, which it's a sequel to The Woman in Cabin 10, which I did read years ago, and I remember liking it. I think it's really the only one of her books that I liked and was okay with the ending. She's not very good at landing the ending. And so this one says, when the invitation to attend the press opening of a luxury Swiss hotel owned by reclusive billionaire Marcus Liedman arrives, it's like the answer to a prayer. 3 years after the birth of her youngest child, Lo Blacklock is ready to reestablish her journalism career, but post-pandemic travel journalism is a very different landscape from the one she left 10 years ago. The chateau on the shores of Lake Geneva is everything Lo's ever dreamed of, and she hopes she can snag an interview with Marcus. Unfortunately, he proves to be even more difficult to pin down than his reputation suggests. When Lo gets a late-night call asking her to come to Marcus's hotel room, she agrees despite her own misgivings. She's greeted, however, by a woman claiming to be Marcus's mistress in an in life or death, and what follows is a thrilling cat-and-mouse pursuit across Europe, forcing Lo to ask herself just how much is she willing to sacrifice to save this woman, and if she can even trust her. So, I don't know.
I did look, and I did have that one down as one that I wanted to read as well.
So, we'll see. That one comes out July 8th, so next week.
Huh?
Next Tuesday, right? Yeah. Or, well, the day after this. Is this one releasing? Yeah, this one's releasing on Monday,
Like,
right?
I don't even know anymore.
I think it comes out tomorrow, guys, if you're listening on Monday. Or something like that.
It comes out at some time. We'll see. I'm not sure which episode is going to release, but we'll see.
Okay. Anyway.
And I had one Rebecca Ross wrote, Wild Reverence, and Rebecca Ross did the Divine Rivals, which I thought was a good series. And this one comes out September 2nd. And it's born in the firelit domain of the Underrealm. Matilda is the youngest goddess of her clan, blessed with humble messenger magic. But in a land where gods often kill each other to steal power and alliances break as quickly as they are forged, Matilda must come of age sooner than most. She may be known to carry words and letters through realms, but she holds a secret she must hide from even her dearest of allies to ensure her survival. And to complicate matters, there is a mortal boy who dreams of her despite the fact they have never met in the waking world. So it goes on from there, but I think the idea of like the ancient Greek gods kind of thing.
Yeah, I like stuff with that too.
With that. So I think that'll be exciting.
That will be exciting. I've got another one coming out this month because it is, July right now. Okay, so we've talked about Geneva Rose. Did you end up reading one of hers?
I have not, but I have it on my Libby Hold list.
Okay, so, Emily and I, we love her and her husband. They are adorable. We've read a few of her books because we want to support her. We don't love her writing, but some of the books are better than others, which I guess that's fair. But she has one that apparently is nothing like anything she's written before, coming out July 15th. It's called The Girl I Was, and it is Alexis Spencer will use any inspirational quote to rationalize her failures and shortcomings. Her closest friends are a distant memory, and her college debt is still as high as the day she left. But that's all fine and dandy because whatever will be, will be. However, when Alexis loses her job and her relationship on the same day, there's no quote strong enough to help her cope. In typical fashion, she blames the world for her problems, including her younger self, who should have tried harder. Feeling sorry for herself, Alexis finds a bottle of vodka from her college days and goes on a bender, blacking out in the process. Only this time, she doesn't wake up at home or even in the right city. In fact, she isn't even in the right year. So,
okay.
So yeah.
I'm intrigued. I'm going to read that one.
I am too. I'm like, that one sounds fun. And she's like, it's nothing. I think she even has like another one coming out later this year that is nothing like her other books. But anyway, I love that she's branching out because.
Yes. I think that you and Emily have both said that you think she would be better in a different genre.
Yes. And so we'll see. Anyway. All right. What about you?
So have you read any R.F. Kuang?
No.
Okay.
No, but I own Babel. That's who wrote Babel, right?
Yes. So
I own Babel. Okay.
They wrote Babel and then Yellowface. And I read Yellowface and I was so on it. It wasn't my favorite, but I've heard amazing things about Babel.
Yeah, so have I.
I'm not sure if R.F. Kuang is male or female. So I'm going to say them, they.
Okay, that works.
This book comes out August 26th, and it's two graduate students must set aside the rivalry and journey to hell to save their professor's soul, perhaps at the cost of their own. Which I was like, okay, that got me.
Yeah.
And it's called Catabasis. It sounds really good. It has different world building, it sounds like. So that sounds really cool. They're going to hell. They're gonna go. So I see a theme here. We're talking about the underworld a little bit with some of the books that I've mentioned. So that sounds,
which is kind of funny,
interesting to me.
I love it.
I do love dystopian and that kind of, what else is out there, the end of the world kind of stuff. So I feel like that kind of aligns with that.
Yeah, I think it does too. The next one I'm going to talk about is called The Locked Door by Sarah Pekkanen. And I was trying to look up, I was like, so the one I can see I read Gone Tonight, and I gave it 4 stars. She also, The Golden Couple. But The Golden Couple I did not love, but I really liked this Gone Tonight book, but I cannot tell you anything. I mean, I could read the description, but she has a new one coming out that sounds really good. The Locked Door. It comes out August 5th. And it says, was it bitter, all-consuming jealousy, pathological sibling rivalry, pure insanity? Whatever the cause, and everyone has a theory, it's the crime of the decade when glamorous Georgia Cartwright, who was adopted as a newborn, is accused of killing the biological daughter of her wealthy Southern family. Georgia is locked in a psychiatric institution where the most violent offenders are held while she awaits trial. The only words she whispers when her estranged twin sister Amanda visits are, I didn't do it. You've got to get me out of here. Amanda doesn't trust Georgia, but she can't abandon her in a place so eerie and menacing that it seems to exist in another dimension. Is Georgia the victim of a powerful family that's so depraved murder is the least of their crimes? Or is Amanda being led down a path of madness into the web of a master manipulator? Nothing is as it seems in The Locked Ward, Locked Ward, not Locked Door. Whoopsies.
I was going to ask you if it was The Locked Ward.
I said, yeah, it is. The Locked Ward is a shocking psychological thriller about the complex bonds of sisterhood and what happens when they are stretched to the breaking point. Some doors in the Locked Ward should never be opened. But that sounds really good, doesn't it?
Yes, that does.
Like, I'm like, ooh, I want it now. Makes me want to read a thriller.
And I don't know anything about these ones, but I did write down that Ken Follett has a new book coming out, Circle of Days, which I read one Ken Follett book, The Pillars of the Earth, and that one, it's talking about huge books, but it was really good. And I've heard that his other books are similarly as good. J.D. Robb has a book out, Framed in Death, which I don't know if I've read any J.D. Robb, but I feel like that's a popular author.
I know, I haven't either, but I feel like I hear J.D. Robb all the time. And
Dan Brown, the Robert Langdon number 6 comes out.
When does that
The
one
Secret
come
of
out?
Secrets. So let me look.
Because I know I bought like a bunch of the books to reread and
then I
catch up. I know, and then I haven't read them, but I have them.
Let's see. That comes out September 9th. So we have some time.
We have some time, okay.
But his books are pretty big, so
they
maybe you don't have as much time as you think.
I know, but they do read so fast. Once they get going, they like don't stop. All right, what else you got?
Let me see what else here. I took screenshots of everything for some reason.
Okay.
There was a book called Inside the Cartel, How an Undercover FBI Agent Smuggled Cocaine, Laundered Cash, and Dismantled a Colombian Narco Empire.
Interesting.
That sounds really good. So it's a true story. It's about an FBI agent, Martin Suarez, who went undercover and lived a double life for years. So I think that sounds really good.
That does.
Naomi Novik, she wrote the book, was it Spinning Silver?
Okay, I have that book because you told me to read it, and
I was like, it was really
it.
good. But she has a new one coming out called The Summer War. Let's see, what else do I have here? Richard Osman, if you are into the Thursday Murder Club, his 5th book in that series comes out, The Impossible Fortune. And they're going to make the Thursday Murder Club into a TV show. And I think that comes out this fall. So if you haven't ever read any of those, I've read the first one, and the first time I tried reading it, I had trouble getting into it. But the second time I tried, I got into it and I enjoyed it. So might take more than one.
Yes.
Tessa Bailey has Picture Perfect.
I got that one on here for my list too.
That is, I'm not sure when that one's coming out. Did you write that down?
September 9th.
September 9th. So I felt like August and July were kind of light on books. And I felt like they were pushing things to September. Maybe that's
Yeah.
just me. Ellen Hildebrand has The Academy coming out, which
All right.
I know people love her books. And then if you read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe and the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, the fifth book in the Dream Harbor series, The Gingerbread Bakery comes out. And
Okay.
maybe those are some fall books.
I bet.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and we have to say that we do know that in July soon, Jenny Hale will be unveiling her new
That's
book
right.
that
And
will
that
come
sounded
out in
so
August.
good.
It did. So she's going to unveil that one. We should be getting the cover any day now because it's July. And she said it would happen in July and then be available. And then the same thing in September, she'll unveil the Christmas book.
Mm.
That will then come out in October. So we got 2 more books coming from Jenny Hale. Woohoo!
So that's setting up my fall and winter books right there. I can get those
We
on the
just gotta
challenge.
find a spring book. I gotta find a spring book. Maybe there's like
There has
I
to be
don't know.
something.
There has to be books set in spring. I bet a list from Goodreads is gonna come up. Let's see here. Yep, 52 Book Club, 2025 genre set in spring. What? I don't know if this is what this is. That might be the title. Okay, it put Anne of Green Gables. It lists it there, I guess.
That goes over most of the year, though.
I know. The Secret Garden. I mean, there are some stuff. I'm like, ugh, The Great Gatsby.
Ugh.
I did not like that one. There's a book called The First Day of Spring, Silent Spring. Oh,
I
Lilac.
was going to say Silent Spring. I'm not reading that.
No. I'm like, some of these that I've read, I'm like, I'm not 100% sure. I think spring is there sometime for part of it. I think this is like, okay, a poem for every spring day. What is that? Okay, you'll find verses that will transport you to vivid springtime scenes, taking you from the first sightings of blossoms to Easter. Perfect for reading aloud and sharing with all the family. This book dazzles with an array of familiar favorites and remarkable new discoveries. Selected from Allie series best-selling poetry anthologies, a poem for every day of the year and a poem for every night of the year. Let me see if I can find this on for free on the library.
I think the spring book is going to have to take some research.
I think so too, but I'm still gonna.
So
I like
spring,
this. I like poetry.
Spring is technically
apparently
March, April, and May.
It technically
part of
goes.
June.
Okay, so technically it's like March 20th through June 20th. Just like winter. Like winter is technically December,
January, right?
December.
Yeah.
But we start thinking November, but November is fall.
Yeah.
And so most of December
also
is.
in Texas, we don't have a fall or a spring really. So it's either hot or cold.
No. But we don't get 4 seasons really.
We have like 2 weeks of spring and fall.
And our summer went from nice to hot real fast and very humid this summer, which is very sad.
This morning, it's July 3rd.
Nice.
And it was so nice.
I know.
I had a doctor's appointment this morning and it was so nice. And I could only spend 15 minutes walking the dog. And I'm like, I want to go walk for another 20.
I know, it was such a nice morning. And yesterday after the rain, the temperature dropped 20 degrees. It was so nice.
I know. And I had another doctor's appointment yesterday.
Of course you did.
And whenever I had to drive from my work that's near your house to the doctor's office. And it was pouring rain. I was on 75 and rain was puddling up on the roadway. It was awful. I was like, this is not what I want. And so it just kind of added up to my bad day. I had a bad day yesterday. So I was just not good. Go home, get in my pajamas. One of those days.
Okay, this book is only available in paperback and it's $26. It's not going to be that. That's not it. That's not the one.
So
I'll find something else.
If anybody knows any books set in spring, if any listeners out there are like, hey, I know this book, it's set in spring, let us know. We'll read it.
If not, I'm just going to put Anne of Green Gables and call it a day because I did read that. So I don't know.
I read it. I don't even know what would qualify as spring. I was trying to think of is there an Easter holiday book? Do they make those? Because that's spring.
Yeah, there might be one. There's definitely kids books about that.
Yep. I'll go read one of those.
I mean, sure. All
I'm
right.
sure Sandra Boynton has a spring book,
I'm
right?
sure she does. I'm sure. Without a doubt. So that'll be the
I'm not
backup
limiting
plan.
myself to anything. I'll read a kid's book. I'll read a toddler book.
It's true. I know. Part of me is like, I wish I had documented every time I read some of the books that I read to my kids like 5,000 times just to know how many times I actually read them.
Moo ba la la la. I read that one, but
No.
not the hippopotamus.
Oh my gosh, my kids, there's one, Dinosaurs Binkit was Gavin's favorite book. And then there's this one with a bunny, and I cannot find it. And I had to read it every single night for like years. And then after Kaylee was born, they fought over Brown Bear, Brown Bear. And she chewed up our board book. So I had to get a replacement. Yes, I'm saying Kaylee chewed up the book. And then, so because of that, I was like, I got to get two because they would fight over the one that she had been nibbling on. And so they each had their own copy.
Kids.
But yeah, for real. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I guess that's a wrap
that.
on quarter
We
two.
have come up with some really great books. Hopefully y'all have enjoyed that. Hopefully you found some books to read.
Yes.
And share some of your books that you've read, whether this is you're listening on Spotify or YouTube or Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to send us a list of what you've been reading.
Yeah.
What's your literary lately? What have you been reading? What has caught your eye that you're excited to come out, that's coming out next quarter? Give us some books to read because I always am looking for new books. I think that's one of the downsides of reading so much. It's like, what do I read?
Right.
Constantly. I'm like, what do I read?
Yep.
What's next? So,
exactly.
Yeah. Go ahead and share those books with us. Follow us on Instagram. Give us a follow on your favorite podcast platform if you're not already doing so. And we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye. So thank you for listening to More Than a Book Club podcast. We are recorded and produced in McKinney, Texas.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.